Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2021 ACS Technology Showcase. If this is your first time at the event, welcome. We've got a packed agenda for you. And if this is a returning journey for you, if you've been to Tech Showcase before, then welcome back. You know a bit of what to expect, but of course we're doing it online for the first time this year. So keep an eye on your screen. There's a packed agenda today. We've got some fantastic speakers talking about global, national, and trends that you can take straight into your business. And then, of course, the showcase section of the event with 6 shortlisted entries that will be presenting their latest innovations when it comes to technology to you that hopefully will improve your stores. I just want to take a moment to thank our independent board that took part in the shortlisting process. It is not an easy process. We had lots of fantastic entries this year, and you can keep up to date on everything with the process on our website. All of the entries are there if you want to check them out. Let's get straight into the agenda then, and our first speaker, I'm delighted to be able to say, is talking to us from Insider Trends. This is Cate Trotter. She's been a storied career in helping businesses all around the world to better understand their customers, and hopefully we'll come out of this presentation with a bit more for us to think about in terms of how we can better understand our customers and how we can use tech, not just for customers, but for staff as well.
Okay, well, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Cate Trotter. I'm the head of trends at Insider Trends, and I've been asked to spend the next 20 minutes or so giving you a whistle-stop tour of how COVID has changed and affected tech in convenience. Before we get into it, an important point to say is that we noticed that the changes in tech and in convenience aren't so much in the store, but more around the store. What we found is that COVID has massively changed behavior, and behavior is changing how customers want to interact. That is changing what stores offer and therefore how they apply tech. So it may well be that the convenience store of 2025 looks the same as it does today or it did last year, but it will actually interact with customers in a different way. So that's most of the tech changes that we're going to explore. Now, before we get into this, I can just explain who I am a little bit more. I head up the team at Insider Trends. We are a retail futures agency who work across all sorts of different verticals. It's a pleasure to be talking to you today. Here are some of the other brands that we work with. So this deck has been researched and pulled together especially for you. So I do hope there are valuable takeaways from this. To make sure that we all start in the same place, I thought we should just have a quick look back to some of the things that you may know. I'm sure you've seen statements like this throughout the internet and throughout conferences that you've attended, but we've all seen things such as this fact that we've seen 5 years of change and growth compressed into a handful of months. We know that UK e-commerce has grown dramatically, again in a handful of months, growing from 20% of total sales to 30% of total sales now. We're also seeing similar huge changes in UK grocery e-commerce. That's grown from just 5% of total spend to now 10%. We're seeing Waitrose deliver more than 250,000 online orders a week now, Tesco doing more than 1 million a week. And we're also seeing changes in terms of how customers are shopping. Customers are trying new delivery systems. They're shopping through things like Deliveroo. They're ordering new solutions, things like delivery boxes. So customers are more open-minded than they've been for a long time too. So that's the grocery market overall. But of course, we've also seen some big changes in terms of convenience store sales. Now, it's been hard to find silver linings during COVID, but one of the silver linings has been thrown in the direction of the convenience store market. We've seen that in the last 12 months, growth in this sector has been more than 2.5 times what it was previously. So hopefully this is something that you can capitalize on. But of course, a lot of this change, or a lot of the change ahead, revolves around technology. Now, when we came across this chart, we thought this was fascinating because this shows what retailers' top priorities are at the moment. This shows that at a time when there is a health emergency, health and safety issues are not actually the #1 priority for retailers. At a time when the health emergency is leading to a financial emergency for a lot of brands, actually cost structure is still not the top priority. At a time when more customers are wanting a huge amount of toilet paper, a huge amount of PPE, a huge amount of flour to bake bread from home, the supply chain is not even the top issue. Instead, still the top issue is tech and digital acceleration. We're also seeing that the channels, or the way that this tech and digital acceleration can be applied, is changing. We found this very interesting. We found that some customers are experiencing more issues in offline shopping channels than they were before the pandemic, and they're increasingly showing a preference for online channels. So when we look at this chart, we can actually see two ways of applying technology. So you can look at this and you can see that technology is probably needed to solve these increasing pains that customers are experiencing online, to help address long queues in front of the store, long queues in the store even. But also there's an opportunity to further improve the customer experience in online channels. So helping streamline that experience and basically cater to customers who want to interact digitally more than they ever have before. Alongside seeing changes in customer preferences for channels, we're seeing customer behaviour simply change. So we knew even before the pandemic that loyalty in convenience was weak. Half of British customers on convenience missions say that they have weak loyalty to the brands that they use. Again, we're seeing customers change their behaviour. In America, we've seen about 40% of customers try a new shopping behaviour as a result of what's happening. And a lot of this behaviour is sticking too. The majority of British people who changed their behaviour and started shopping for food during the pandemic say that they plan to keep doing so. So this is an opportunity and an invitation for convenience stores to change. We've seen that customers were already open to shopping in new ways. They're now trying new ways to shop, and a lot of that behaviour is going to stick for the long term. Now, when we think about how convenience stores need to adapt, it's important to understand that what customers expect from convenience stores comes about as in direct relation to what they expect and experience in their weekly shop, either online or offline. We've actually seen that there's been an increase in the number of weekly shops as a result of people staying at home more. So people are either doing their weekly shop in the store or they're doing it online. But when they do a weekly shop, their expectations are different. We know when we buy online that we should expect a handful of substitutions with each order. If we go into a store to buy 100 items, any reasonable person would expect to have to swap out a couple of things that they were looking for and again, accept a substitution. But this is changing what people want from convenience stores, because increasingly, if people can't find what they want in their weekly shop, they're turning to convenience channels to get that. And so that means when they go into a convenience store or they interact with a convenience store, they are less likely to accept substitutions. They're going to be fussier and more demanding. And this is reflected in the data. We know now that 44% of British people say that they've tried new brands specifically because of availability issues. Basically, they wanted a specific item, they couldn't find it in their local store, and they switched brands as a result. And there's a couple of things that convenience stores can do to directly respond to this. The first is that they can make information more available to customers. So I believe that last year Near Street presented to you, which is great. We've been fans of Near Street for a long time now. We saw a need for their solution before the pandemic hit. It's become even more relevant since the start of the pandemic. For those of you who don't know, Near Street is a little tech widget that makes it easy for any independent store, convenience store, any other type of store to post their inventory levels live to Google and or their website. So this means that customers can get information about what is in stock before they go. And of course, this makes complete sense. During a pandemic, no one wants to have a wasted journey. So people want to get that information before they go. There was a need for this before the pandemic. We knew that 83% of customers say that they prefer to shop nearby instead of online if they can see that the item they want is available in a nearby store. We've seen demand for near street services go through the roof since the start of the pandemic. So in the first lockdown, search volumes were 5 times that of what they were at the start of 2020. But even after lockdowns were lifted and we were all allowed out of our houses, those search volumes stabilized at about 3 times the level they were before the pandemic. So we can expect this search volume to stick long after we've all been vaccinated and we can go back to something of a normal life. We've also seen, though, that customers are becoming fussier. We have seen a 47% increase in specific grocery search modifiers in the past few years. And by this, we mean that customers aren't just searching for flour, they are searching for flour near me, or they're searching for whole wheat flour near me, or they're searching for Hovis whole wheat flour near me. They are getting much, much more demanding. So giving customers more information is one way we can address the availability issue, but also giving them access to a wider range of stock is another way we can give them better availability. And when we think about a wider array of stock, this can apply in terms of the food and drink that you offer. This can apply also in terms of stocking a huge array of things, maybe offering the array of a mall department store, things like homewares or tools, things like that. So we've seen John Lewis directly respond to this, again since the start of the pandemic. So now their full array, hundreds of thousands of SKUs are now available through their smaller Waitrose stores, through independent booth stores. They've recently announced a partnership with the Co-op. So their full range is now available in more than 500 Co-op stores. And so I'm sure you can see that this makes Co-op a much more attractive proposition. If you have the choice of just picking up some eggs and bread, or picking up some eggs, bread, a toaster and a frying pan, if that's what you need, then I'm sure you can easily think of which brand you would choose. Now, I know recently John Lewis have announced that they are pausing their click and collect offer because of the most recent lockdown, but we can expect this to return fairly soon. We know that 57% of British employees say that they want to work from home some or all of the time after the pandemic has ended. So basically, if people are working from home more, they are going to want to shop more locally. So there's a big appeal in this offer for customers. Now, this next section will not come as a surprise to you, but in the middle of a pandemic where this disease is being spread by human contact and close proximity, of course, customers want as much of a contactless experience as they can possibly get. So we know that 70% of Americans say that they prefer a zero human contact shopping experience. There's a number of ways to interpret this and respond to this. This could be as simple as a small convenience store installing automatic doors or taking the doors off their fridges, perhaps, to just minimize the amount of contact that they need from customers. But also, of course, contactless payment is seeing yet another boom. Almost half of British shoppers say that they've now gone entirely cashless. And again, they're planning on continuing this in the long term. There's other data that supports this. Since the start of the pandemic, we've seen interest in paying through fixed point of sales drop, and we've seen interest and demand in scan and go systems more than double. Again, ask any big retailer and they will support this entirely. Tesco have seen a vastly accelerated demand for their Pay Plus service. They now have more than 1 million registered users for this service. One of the big winners has been Sainsbury's, who say that their app-driven smart shop service is now responsible for 37% of sales that they're transacting. Asda are accelerating the rollout of their app payment system. M&S are doing a similar thing. But this isn't just something for the big brands. There are, of course, systems that smaller brands can partner with to offer a similar system. And there are additional benefits to this. We've seen that some of these app systems, because they can offer personalized offers or personalized recommendations, this leads to the fact that AI-suggested promotions are bought 9 times as often as traditional promotions. We know that app baskets are 20% bigger on average when they're pulled together through an app. And also, because these systems are what customers want, it means that customers are more likely to return and buy more through these systems. So customers are actually 3 times as likely to return. Now, that's maybe the simpler way of applying contactless technology. But of course, another acceleration that we're seeing is the ultimate expression of this in the unmanned, completely automated store. Basically, a store experience that removes human staff from the experience entirely. So I know you are all familiar with the Amazon Go model, but what we're seeing now is that more brands are adopting this, and they're, again, accelerating the adoption of this. So Amazon have announced that they are now offering their Just Walk Out technology to a variety of partners. This is now live in some airports in America. Albert Heijn in the Netherlands have said that they're going to be opening 100 unmanned stores in the near future. Lyft is a new brand that's planning 300 unmanned stores. And there are other models opening up in Germany, Russia, and Sweden as well. So we're all familiar with the model, but this is ramping up faster, and this is coming much, much closer to Britain now. So we can expect to see this model in Britain in the next year or so, I think. Now, another way that we can remove contact from the experience is by simply telling customers that they don't have to visit us in the store if they don't want to. We're now seeing an array of providers letting customers visit the store if they want, but they're also offering delivery from the store if that's what the customer would prefer. Now, Foxtrot is an up-and-coming convenience store where this blended delivery model is at the heart of what they do. So customers can shop the store normally, but any customer who spends more than $100 a month with them can get fast 1-hour delivery for free from the store. So Foxtrot have raised $17 million around making this the center of their model. But also importantly, they're now finding that there's a rough 50-50 split between revenue taken offline and revenue taken online. So we expect that any brand offering this blended model will see their revenue increase. And this can be relatively simple to implement. This is about setting up an app and partnering with a delivery partner to offer this delivery from store. But Foxtrot aren't the only brand offering super fast delivery. Again, we're seeing more and more and more brands move into this. Co-op are offering zero emissions delivery within 90 minutes from a handful of their stores now. They're also partnering with Deliveroo. Waitrose have seen demand for their 2-hour delivery service increased by about 5 times in the past 9 months or so. 7-Eleven might be the one to beat. They're leaving no stone unturned. They're partnering with about 7 different delivery companies to make sure that whatever customers want can be with them in record speed. But actually, the one to beat is Getir. Getir launched last week in London in zones 1 and 2. I'll give you a minute to think about the record they're setting for fast delivery. But, well, I'll tell you now, it's not 1 hour, it's not 30 minutes, it's not even 20 minutes. In fact, they are offering delivery in just 10 minutes. So this is setting a whole new benchmark for convenience. Maybe convenience isn't about where your store is located, maybe it's about how quickly you can get items into customers' hands. So Everything we've covered so far is a look at a lot of technology around the store. We are seeing some brands implement tech in their store, but again, this isn't customer-facing tech. There are brands like Coop, which is the Swedish pronunciation of Co-op, who are embracing this in their stores in Sweden. They have staff-facing tech that means they can apply staff more efficiently in their stores. So each member of staff has a little wearable device, and this makes it much easier for them to communicate with each other. So you can see a handful of use cases from other brands on the screen here. But how Coop are using it is they're inviting customers to check in when they arrive at the store, if they're a click and collect customer. So that quickly pings a member of staff so they can come to the front of the store and quickly serve that customer with their click and collect order. Or it may be that there are staff in the back of house, but suddenly they're needed in the front of house, maybe to address a spillage in an aisle, or maybe to address a very, very long queue. So quickly, staff can just press their device, it will ping other staff, and this will mean that staff are more likely to be in the right place at the right time. The more sophisticated version of this for the bigger brands is that these systems can also be directed by smart in-store technology. So cameras in the store can see which parts of the space are the busiest, and they can direct staff to go and serve customers in those areas automatically. So these systems, it seems relatively simple, but this is delivering a meaningful uplift in terms of retailers' profitability. Turnpike have found that their systems can boost staff efficiency by 15%. And this goes on to boost the conversion rate by 10%, mainly because it boosts customer satisfaction by 20%, by ensuring that whatever help customers want is on tap for them. It makes it effortless. Now, another big change that we're seeing is that stores are applying tech to become more intelligent. So again, this isn't necessarily tech that customers see, but this is certainly tech that is helping stores boost their performance. We're seeing this in China through Alibaba, and we're seeing this in India with Amazon. So Alibaba and Amazon are now offering independent convenience stores a wide variety of tech. The stores can get access to this tech for free in exchange for agreeing that they will stock their store from Alibaba or Amazon's wholesale unit. And there are lots of advantages to this, including next day delivery, mobile checkout, and other nice shiny things. But the innovation that I want to cover here is the fact that these systems are making the store much smarter. These systems can also keep track of what's being sold in the store, perhaps what's being sold faster than expected in the store. They keep track of what customers are searching for and are buying locally, so they can use those search trends to tell the store owner what they should be buying and ordering in. They can even be linked up to weather alerts. So if they can see that a storm is coming, the system might advise the store owner to pre-order a bunch of umbrellas, even if that's something that the store owner may not stock. So this is a relatively simple upgrade, given that the tech is doing all the hard work. But the stores that have embraced this, some of them have seen that their sales have doubled or even tripled as a result. So the question for you is, how can you get a similar level of intelligence? How can you keep better track of what's being sold in your store, or what customers are requesting locally around the store? And there are systems out there to help you. This shouldn't be too hard to address. Okay, so just a few final thoughts to wrap up here. I think one of the biggest things I'd like you to take away from this is that the time is ripe for experimentation. Again, there haven't been many silver linings, but one of the silver linings has been that customers are shopping in new ways. And the brands that can offer new shopping interactions are actually likely to keep interacting and selling to those customers for the long term. Again, even after the pandemic has ended. And a lot of upgrades can be achieved through tech. But I don't want you just to think that tech is a pure cost or it's just going to be an expensive headache. I know that is the knee-jerk reaction for when people like me talk to people like you about tech, but hopefully I can show you a chart that will disprove this theory. So this is a chart from McKinsey that shows that in grocery and in convenience, the current profit margin is around 2 to 4%. This is actually going to be impacted in coming years because of increased labour costs. But they've established that if retailers can apply tech in the right ways, in the right areas, not only can this negate the impact of these increased labour costs, they can, in fact, bump up the profit margin to the point where your future profit margin could be twice or even 3 times what it is today. So I invite you not just to see tech as a cost, don't just see tech as a way out of the short-term impact of COVID, but see tech as a way to open up your profit margin for the long term. And my last point is that this convenience store of 2025 may not look that different to how it does today. In 2025, it may look remarkably similar to this image on the screen here. However, it's likely to function in a different way. We can expect to see more self-checkout systems. We can expect to see more self-scanning systems. We can expect to be offered delivery from store and delivery of a much wider variety of items. And so this means that really the definition of convenience is changing. Convenience will carry on being about the location of the store, the proximity to customers, but it's going to factor in extra things as well. Convenience is increasingly going to be about the amount of information that's available to customers. It's going to be about the range of items that are available to customers as well. And it's going to be about the level of control that you give to customers. Can they find out the information they want? Can they request the items they want? Do they have a choice of delivery? Do they have a choice of delivery slots? So I hope you can see that convenience is changing a huge amount, but there is a lot to be gained from that change. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Cate. There's a whole lot to think about there. A really interesting presentation. There's lots to go on. I especially thought the wearable bands for colleagues was really interesting. It's a difficult balance, isn't it, between making the stores as efficient as possible, making sure everything gets done, but then being able to use colleagues to have a bit of freedom to talk to customers, to add that value that we get from being a local shop. Hopefully, in the future, I guess all of that sort of shelf stacking and the replenishment, all that kind of thing, will be done by an army of robots. So it'll all be just all added value all the time. That's the goal, I guess. Robots is Jason Perry, online development at the Co-op, and he's talking to us about how Co-op have been admittedly a little bit late to market when it comes to home delivery, but the opportunities that has provided them and where they've got to now and what they're doing in communities. So let's hear a bit more from Jason.
Hi everyone, my name's Jason Perry. Really glad to kind of sit here today and speak to you guys about the journey that we've been on at the Co-op with Starship Robots and our autonomous delivery service that we've got operating now. So I head up the development team at the Co-op, and this is one of the responsibilities I've had since I joined just over 2.5 years ago. So I wanted to take you on a bit of a journey, and it began, we started our partnership with Starship kind of 2018, kind of middle of the year. So we started in one shop in Milton Keynes, and since then we've learned lots, we've served so many people, and I'll talk about some of the stats and what we've actually found with the partnerships with Starship. So yeah, your picture you can kind of see there was our Emerson Valley store that we opened after a refit in 2019. As part of the refit, we wanted to offer the robot service from the store. So it's great to kind of see them all lined up on the opening day, and since then they've certainly been busy, that's for sure. So for some of you guys, you might be aware of how Starship works and how you get groceries delivered autonomously. Others might not. So I wanted to just spend a couple of minutes showing you how does the end-to-end solution work. So it starts by downloading the Starship application, of which you can get that from the Play Store or the App Store. So once you've downloaded the application, you can then choose which neighbourhood you want to be able to shop in. So in the app there, you'll see all the different places that you can have robot deliveries, so the different areas across Milton Keynes. You'll also see the universities that Starship are operating in. So once you've chosen where it is that you want to have your deliveries, you'll then be shared with the options. So in that area, you'll see the co-op stores, you'll see hot food places, you may see kind of parcel delivery providing services. So in there, you'll be able to select where do you want to get your shopping. And you can also see the time that's expected to be there. So the example you can see on there for a co-op delivery from Monkston Park, you're kind of looking between 46 and 50 minutes, and that's based upon how far away from the shop, how quick we'll pick. Once you've selected the store you want to be shopping from, you can then ask where you want the robot delivery to take place to. So you can do this two ways. You can either drop a pin within the map, or you can enter an address. And we've seen some really imaginative ways of people using this. So a couple of examples that spring to mind are some customers have been able to have it delivered to a park and meet them there and bring them the picnic food that they wanted for the day, or people ordering for it to arrive back to their house when they were on the way back from the gyms, when we were allowed to go to things like gyms. So yeah, I've seen people use it in various different ways. So once you've selected where you need the delivery to be made to, you're then given the options of what do you want to buy. So at the moment, we've got over 2,500 of our products available through the Starship application, and that includes all different areas of the shop. And just before Christmas, we were able to launch age-restricted items on the Starship platform. So that includes an extra step now that once you've checked out, you'll need to visually verify your passport and your age and who you are with a member of Starship via a video call. And we've seen that been really successful, to be honest, and we want to kind of keep that growing and have some more range to that operation. So it's been perfect to see that come to fruition. But you can go on, get your full kind of grocery shop if you want. And one of the questions we always get asked is, what happens if it's too big for one robot? And what will tend to happen is if it's too big, there'll be a second one that will just follow the first one, and they'll both deliver your order to you. Once you've done your checkout and you've purchased your goods, you're then kind of shared with this is how long it's going to be until your robot arrives. So within the app, then you'll see the different steps and you'll be able to track that robot all the way to you. But the next bit is that order then drops into our store. So one of our great colleagues will go around the shop, pick all the items in your order, and they'll then substitute anything that's not available to what your preference is. And then they'll go outside and load the robot, which will have driven to the front of the store. So the colleague then uses the application to unlock the robot. Once they've loaded the goods in there, that is then locked and will stay locked until it gets to the customer. So at that point, you can then track the robot all the way through its journey from the store right to where you've had it coming to. And once it gets there, it notifies you, and then you use the application to unlock it. So there's a sound on the robot, you lift the lid, get your goods out, close the lid, and then that robot will go off to do its next delivery, whether that's another co-op or it might go somewhere else. So kind of great end-to-end experience, and you can kind of get that full visibility of the order. So it's quite timely, really, because last week Starship announced some great figures and numbers, which included them doing their 1 millionth autonomous delivery. So you can kind of see there from the graph in the top left, when we kind of started with Starship, kind of 2018, they've done a handful of orders, and now to see that rapid growth over the last kind of 2.5 years has been fantastic. Popular products that they've been delivering obviously includes milk. We've got pizzas from a lot of the university campuses that they offer and operate from. You've got coffee, bananas. And I think one of the things that really attracted us to working with Starship in the first instance was the fact that these robots were green. They were electrically powered. So for us, it was zero emissions, and kind of helps towards our ambition of all of our online deliveries being zero emissions. So great to kind of see the growth that Starship have had in the number of deliveries that they've made autonomously. But Also from the kind of map in the bottom left, you can kind of see the spread of their operations now. So a lot of the ones in the US there are the universities that they've been expanding to. You've got a couple in UK, and then obviously they're in different parts of Europe as well, including Estonia, where Starship were founded. So great kind of milestone for those guys, and we've been really pleased to be part of that journey. So I guess that brings us on to where are we now with autonomous deliveries with Starship, and we're really pleased. We've got live operations in 9 of our Co-op stores, 8 of which are in Milton Keynes, and they serve pretty much the most of the town now. So they're going really well. And then in December of last year, we expanded to Northampton, so a brand new area. And we opened our first store up there, and that's been really well received, to be honest, by the local community. And we've seen tremendous volumes going through there and excitement, to be honest. So it's been brilliant to see that it's not just a Milton Keynes phenomena, but people outside of there who've been touched by the robots and interested as well. And over that kind of 2.5 years with Starship, and we've done hundreds of thousands of autonomous deliveries now. We've seen them get quicker, we've seen cross roads, we've seen pretty much everything that the robots can see. So it's been brilliant to be part of that, and it's really become a core part of our store operations that have these kind of robot deliveries now. So a good proportion of their total store sales are now coming through these online channels. So they've become very important to colleagues to serve their customers in a different way, but also some people have begun to rely on the service, especially during COVID and kind of in isolation and lockdown. So we've seen great uptake, and it's become a real integral part of the store, but then also the community, which I'll touch on in just a moment. So yeah, we've been really pleased. It's been great to kind of see it expand from the one shop in 2018 to a handful of shops in 2019, and then COVID really kind of gave us the push to do a bit more and get more slots and basically capacity out there for customers to order. So I wanted to kind of bring it back to the Emerson Valley Co-op store that we showed you at the beginning with the robots lined up. When the store reopened after a refit in 2019, it was great to be able to get the kids to come and be involved as part of that refit reopen again. So what was extra special about this one was the fact that the Starship robots pictured there were able to bring the scissors to the children. The big cardboard scissors, by the way, they're not real scissors. They were able to bring the scissors to the kids to be able to cut the ribbon. So it kind of encapsulated everything in one place, from the kind of local community in the school to the robot delivery to reopening after being closed for a good few weeks to bring the shop back up to where it wanted to be. So yeah, great to see. Lots of excitement from the kids. They love the robots, and I'll show you in just a moment how much they love them. So for us, great to be able to get Starship involved in bits and pieces like that as well, and see them as a core part of this store and the offering in the community. So moving forward, these are some of the letters and some of the bits that kind of get sent back with the robots. So once an order's been delivered to customers, often we find they get back to the shop, and in there might be a little thank you letter. There'll be pictures drawn by kids, and it's absolutely amazing to see there's a wide selection. So in the stores, a lot of them put them up on the notice board in there. Lots of excitement, lots of love for them. I think it's a great testament as well to the work that Starship have done. So they've actually been able to go into some of the local schools, talk to children about them, how they work, what they do, and they've really got excited by them, which certainly helps as they get back from when they were physically in the schools, get back and asking for, can I get a robot delivery? Please, can I get a robot delivery? So they've become a real part of the community. As we are as a community retailer, it kind of felt really good and a nice fit for kind of Co-op and Starship to be working together on those bits. So just wanted to kind of leave it with that point. Just wanted to say thank you very much for listening, and if anybody's kind of got any questions, be happy to take them. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Really interesting presentation. We've seen a few of those sort of robots doing deliveries around more. I think it's becoming more and more of a thing. Obviously, where I grew up, they'd probably be upside down on top of a car within a few minutes, but hopefully they're working out. I thought actually the most interesting thing about the journey that you've gone on there is how you stay connected to the community. I think that's really interesting. I think the little drawings from the children coming back, and sort of the new friend, the robot that comes and gives the groceries. I think that is fantastic. It shows that you can invest in tech, you can invest in automation, but still keep that community connection. And our next speaker actually is very well qualified to talk about community connections. It's Emma Sutton from Costcutter, who is dealing with all of their social media, and has, of course, their business, and Emma personally has obviously gone on a huge journey over the last year about how retailers can connect to their customers better through social media, how they can make the most of social media, and especially during these times when we've got lockdowns and we've got to perhaps do things a little bit differently to get the attention of customers.
Hi everyone, my name's Emma Sutton and I lead on all of the social media at Costcutter. So anything shopper facing, that's what I look after. So today at the ACS Technology Showcase, I'm just going to be running through everything we do with social media at Costcutter. So firstly, just a little bit of background on how we support our retailers and how we help them utilize social media better. Next, why social media is so important, especially now more than ever due to coronavirus. Next, we're going to look at changes we've seen throughout 2020, some of our learnings, and then also some top tips for people that do have social media already or are waiting to take that plunge. So first off, a little bit about our support. Now, we have supported our retailers for quite a while, but since I started a couple of years ago, I really wanted to make that support a lot more tailored so that no matter what skill level you are, you've got the support on hand and ready so you can really utilize your page to the best of its ability. So a little bit on how we support. So during our promotional cycle, every single period, we provide our retailers with content calendars. So these have things like bank holidays, national days, anything that we recommend they should focus on. And then also from a business perspective about what would help them grow sales. So things like our key deals and any new products that they've got. We also provide them with supporting images and videos. So again, like I said, I want to make this as easy for retailers as possible. So they'll have everything at their fingertips to have a full period's worth of content. Next, we also host a Facebook group. This is where all of the images and the content calendars will be displayed. It's also a great place for knowledge sharing. So knowledge sharing from myself, but then also a great forum for retailers to speak to each other and ask me questions. We also created some in-house Costcutter specific upskill videos. So again, this is great for someone that maybe doesn't even know how to post. They can come to these and learn. And then also we do things on social media advertising. So again, for more greater skilled people that use social media quite a lot. And finally, workshops. So pre-COVID, we were doing a lot of these face-to-face, but now I have done a lot of online sessions for people. And just a few quotes at the bottom to show that our retailers really do enjoy these sessions and they take things from them and use them into their day-to-day lives. So why use social media, and also a little bit of the impact on how the last year has changed this. So I am going to talk quite a bit about Facebook, purely because it's the main channel that our retailers communicate on and the one that they gravitate to the most. But this is still the same for Instagram, Twitter, and any other channel that you'd like to use. It really is key to know what your demographic is. So some stores might suit better to Facebook or also to Instagram. So great thing about Facebook is it's great for direct engagement with your shoppers and community. So whether that's through what you post on your page or whether you're commenting back to your shoppers, it's just a great place to bring that community online and in a space where a lot of people are on their phones and looking at it. Next, you can expand your store awareness to a new and online audience. So throughout 2020, Facebook usage has increased by a whopping 70%. So with people having so much more time on their hands, they're working from home, they're looking and scrolling a lot more, which I am really guilty of. It's great. That's a great chance to put your content out there and get your store awareness out there. You can also utilize things like social media advertising, which is boosting your posts to an area around your store. And this is great to tap into a new audience that don't necessarily like you on Facebook, but you can bring them in and bring them on that journey with you. Next, it's great to support increase in sales. So we know that 89% of people will buy from a brand that they follow on social media. This really does just support that goal. And you know that if you're getting that content in front of people, you want your store to be front of mind so that when they go out and spend their money, it's with you. And finally, a massive theme you'll see throughout this presentation is the ability to adapt. So now more than ever, and last year, we've had so much thrown at us that really tell retailers to use it as almost a live feed for them. So unlike something that's going to print that needs to be perfect and can't be changed, you can really post on Facebook any updates that you've got for your store and really keep your shoppers informed. Now we're just going to look at some changes we've seen throughout 2020. So a massive one for us is an increase in engagement with social media. So lots of our retailers are gravitating towards this as a communication tool. We've seen a really good 20% increase in retailers using Facebook. So that's people coming to me wanting to start their journey and know where they can get support. We've also seen a 41% increase in Facebook group members. So that group I was on about earlier, we've seen the members increase, therefore our retailers are seeking out ways in which they can start their social media journey and get support. Next is a massive shift in content types. So at the beginning of 2020, I would probably not have recommended a toilet roll picture on social media. But now more than ever, people are looking for those essentials. They're looking for the milk, the bread, the toilet roll, and to know that they're not making a wasted trip. And they can also shop local for these types of things, and they don't have to go to the big multiple stores. Next, we've seen a rise of more information-based posts and announcements. So how your store is really adhering to those government guidelines. What are you putting in place in store so that your shoppers feel safe and want to come inside? So based on this, our support has changed massively. So we've made sure that we've included these types of content within our content calendars. We've kept our retailers up to date on these things. And it's just been a massive learning curve for me as well. So knowing what to recommend our retailers on what to post. So there's been a lot of change. And next, online delivery. This has been a massive shift in the convenience sector. We've seen so many more retailers really getting involved with this, jumping on the bandwagon, whether it's just through their store and people are ringing up to place an order, or whether they're using a third-party app. But we'll touch a little bit more on that later. So next, we're going to go on to our learnings and what we've seen throughout 2020. So I'm going to focus on 4 key areas. So for me, the first one is adapting is key. I know I've mentioned this before, but it really, really is important, especially when so many things have changed. You can use your Facebook page and you can make sure your shoppers are up to date. And it really helps with things like unnecessary trips out and making sure that your shoppers are shopping locally. Next is that community focus really supports engagement. We've seen some really amazing stuff from our retailers. Some have donated food boxes to NHS members and also some charity work. So it's really knowing what makes your community tick and making sure that your contents are relevant to them. So really think, how could you support them better, whatever you're doing? Next is clear guidance for your shoppers. It's really key to make sure that everyone is aware of what you're doing to adhere to government guidelines, but then also making sure that this is mirrored in store. It's really key to make that customer journey as flawless as possible when it comes to those types of things, and them feeling safe within your store. And finally, online grocery shopping, we feel is a trend that's here to stay, and it's definitely a lasting legacy of the pandemic. Now, 7% of grocery occasions are delivered by a website and an app, and these shoppers are likely to be between 18 and 35 years old. So if you've got online delivery or you're looking into getting it, social media is that fab place that you can promote this. The right demographic's going to be there, and they're going to want to know what they can get really easily for a weekend or a meal solution. So to finish off this session, I'm just going to share a few top tips from us. This is when it comes to engaging with your online audience. So first of all, if you haven't got a social media page, just start. Don't be overwhelmed. Don't get scared. Just start posting, and you'll know exactly what your community wants because you're in the heart of it. Next is to have clear guidelines in place that all team members are aware of and understand. So make sure that you're plastering these over your social media pages so they know it's a safe place to come. And also, we've seen a lot of times that this really needs to be mirrored in store so that you don't get those negative comments on social media when it's not being mirrored and what they've experienced in store is different. Next is to stay in touch with your community. So as I've mentioned before, you know them best, you're in the heart of that community, and you really need to remain relevant to them. So whether that's the way you tweak your content types, so just a few examples of what we've created for retailers, if you're in a city and you're highly indexing vegans and vegetarians, make sure you shift your content to that and give them things and tips and products that they'll want. Or if you know that there's lots of rugby fans around, you know, the Six Nations is coming up, really hammer home that you've got deals in store so they can make that occasion at home and have that nice time at home. Or what else could you do? I know that all communities have Facebook groups, so can you join that, see what's coming up in your community and really champion that for them and make it relevant to them. And then finally, always check your comments. So comments is the best way that you can bring your personality to your Facebook page. I think it's really key that it's not just a business page, it's a place where you can show your personality and that it's a human behind the brand and you're an independent retailer and it's your business. So always check your comments, even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes every other day. You know, there can be negativity. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in, that some people just like to be a negative Nelly. So what I would say is stay polite and professional always. I would guide your customers to your direct messages. So go back to them so everyone can see that you've not ignored the comment, you've gone back to them, but always just guide them to your direct messages and ask for more information there, just so you can really keep it off the public platform. And also, if you get a lot of comments, don't be overwhelmed. You don't always need to respond to everything. Just make sure you look through them and prioritize questions and any kind of complaints where you feel like it could escalate. And that's everything from me. So I think we can all say that the past year and even January has been a very unique time for us all. But hopefully during the session, you've seen that social media is key in really staying part of the community, driving sales, and really being at the forefront of things like online delivery. Thank you.
Thanks, Emma. There's a lot for retailers to take away there. I think however experienced or inexperienced you are at social media, there's always another level, there's always another place you can take it. And I think that's really exciting. And of course, you know, lots of this stuff is free. And we always say that if something doesn't work, it's not like it doesn't work on a grand scale. You sort of fail quietly, which is, you know, always quite a good thing to do because it's quite low risk. So social media and developing your social media presence is obviously really important right now. Emma, Cate and Jason will all be joining me later on the panel with Rav, who is obviously an award-winning retailer and a tech entrepreneur in his own right, so keep out for that. But we're now moving straight into the showcase section of the day. And in this section, we've got presentations, so very tight on time today. So they are given a very specific window, and then I've got a couple of minutes to give them some questions and grill them on their solutions. So please do get your questions in the chat box. I will try and get through as many of them as possible as we go through. But for now, let's get to our first entry, and fitting that we were talking about social media. This is SocioLocal and their solution for retailers.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Stephen Malone, the CEO of SocioLocal. At SocioLocal, we help convenience stores, whether that be one store to hundreds, maximize their social media marketing in order to drive sales at a local level.
Our platform, SocioConnect, allows business owners of one or multiple stores to manage their online marketing and increase the adoption of branded campaigns across their estate.
My grandparents were shop owners. They owned a convenience store, and they knew their customers really well. They really were a part of their local community.
Building community connections takes time, but also access. We work with you to get access to all your store's profiles, then can publish posts across your entire estate, or save more time by using our recommended posts.
The product saves you time in head office and at a local store level. When we get started with partners, we help you get set up and get the appropriate access to your entire estate's social media pages. And once we've done this, we help you develop the relevant groups within your estate. An example of this would be online shopping. So once we have access and the relevant group set up, you can then really start to have fun. You can publish a post or an offer campaign to all of your estate, whether that be 100 or 1,000 social media pages, or run more targeted campaigns via your online shopping groups or other groups. Now, that's for the head office marketing team. But at a local level, what do we do for the stores? Our recommended post feature suggests relevant posts for your store owners to publish in a couple of clicks, taking out the guesswork of creating a post for each store.
With posts now deliverable across all your group of stores, you can ensure branded campaigns are consistent and frequent. Our reputation and inbox modules also ensure compliance when dealing with requests from customers.
I'd like to show you in more detail. Now that we have access to these local store pages and our groups are set up, we're able to start running our campaigns en masse, whether that be a HQ branded campaign or a supplier campaign. What you're able to do when you're creating these campaigns is tag them with the appropriate campaign tag, which is really important so you can actually see the results of each individual campaign across your estate, which helps increase compliance of these campaigns across your stores. Secondly, our reputation on inbox feature is really important for ensuring customer satisfaction. You can see how well your stores are doing at responding to customer queries that are coming through online, but also track your overall sentiment in regards to how customers feel about your brand and your stores.
Our platform makes sure your marketing budgets are being used efficiently. SocioConnect's advertising module has saved our customers time and money with its mass ad creation function, finally making local level marketing feasible and targeted.
SocioConnect saves your business money in many ways, not just in the areas we covered in our last segment of publishing en masse to your estate or automating posts at a local store level. One area where we really reduce your costs is our advertising module. Our advertising module enables you to run targeted ad campaigns to all of your stores through those local store pages, making your advertising budget go much, much further. An example of this, and that we're seeing with our existing customers, is running online shopping campaigns. If you want to increase that exposure, you can use our mass advertising module to create these adverts and run them to all your local store pages, making your marketing budget go further.
SocioConnect brings your entire business's data onto one real-time dashboard, giving you the insight you need to react and optimize at a local and national level. Reward and support high and low performing stores and get the estate level visibility you need to succeed.
Our business intelligence tool gives you in-depth insight across your whole estate by bringing this data into one easy to use, drillable dashboard. You're able to look at posts and compare them from branded posts that have been run by HQ versus local posts that have been done by the store owners. You can also look at the difference between how many people your estate is reaching on social media and whether that's down to paid advertising or they've been reached organically. Now finally, one of the crucial features about this dashboard is you get to see those campaigns that you've run, whether they be branded campaigns or HQ campaigns, and see what campaigns are working best for your estate, and more importantly, where are those campaigns working best. This data and this insight helps you and your marketing team make more powerful, data-driven decisions.
SocioConnect offers business owners real-time analysis to show the tangible actions customers are taking off the back of social media.
In order to drive sales, it's about much more than just producing content. You need to take the local landscape of each store into account, and that's where our local intelligence tool comes into play. With our events functionality, we'll show the store owner or the marketing team what's happening around that store, what events are taking place nearby, and how are they going to predict the footfall impact in the local area. To add to that, we also bring in weather insights to show you what the weather is going to be like for the next 7 days. With events and local weather, when you're creating your content, whether that be by the store manager, store owner, or the marketing team, you can ensure that your context is on point, which is extremely important to resonate and engage with your local community when you're running your marketing campaigns. So let's recap on our value that we offer our partners. We help you save time at both a local level and a HQ level. We help increase compliance of branded campaigns. We help reduce costs through automation for stores and for the marketing team. We give you data-rich insights on your branded campaigns across your whole estate. And all of this is in order to help you drive sales. But now let's take a look at what we've done for some of our existing customers. Here are some of the results for a partner of ours for nearly 2 years. As you can see, we've taken their compliance of campaigns from 20% all the way up to 84% in a short time frame, which has led to them reaching an extra 15.5 million people on social media. They've really taken advantage of our advertising module as well, and we've been able to save them €140,000 in advertising spend in 2020 alone. As you can see, our solution pays for itself. You can digitize and monetize supplier campaigns. You can increase the reach of marketing campaigns and increase sales, all of which make store owners happier. We have two different pricing structures. We have one for head office, which starts at £10 per month per store, and we run discounts based on the number of locations and the modules you'd like to include. For our store solution, it starts at £50 per month for the software, and we also offer a managed service from £200 per month. If you'd like to hear more on our pricing, please feel free to reach out. Thanks for your time today. We're more than happy to answer any questions you may have on our solution and how we help our partners.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
Great. Well, what a fantastic presentation in such a short time. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for joining us. We've got just a couple of minutes. I have to be strict on this. First thing that stuck out to me is, so what's the minimum size of business that should be looking at this? Because it seems like it's potentially sort of unlimited possibilities.
So by minimum size of business, Chris, what exactly do you mean? Sorry.
So if you just got one store, couple of staff, is this right for you?
Yeah. So basically, whether you've got one store or 1,000 stores, the solution works from basically for all partners. So how it typically works is at that HQ level in the marketing team, kind of similar to Emma earlier. There's a solution for Emma, but there's also a solution if you're also the store owner, so you can really act in your local marketing. So it really does go from top to bottom.
And how important is that analytics side of things? I think lots of retailers use social media, but then don't really track too much about what's working and what isn't working.
Well, it's huge. I think social media has been such a big part of things, and more so now than ever. And that analytics piece really gives them visibility on what's working and the actual fundamental results off the back of it, particularly across hundreds or thousands of stores. So it is a crucial component, and our customers will get a lot of value out of that one.
Yeah, and I'm particularly interested by the weather insights and the events insights. What's next for that? Is there anything you're looking to build on top of that, beyond that can kind of keep an eye on trends?
Yeah, so basically for our events and weather insights, we have a recommended post feature which will recommend local marketing to a store and posts they should create. We plan to integrate our recommended post feature with weather and events. So we'll actually take in the context of events happening nearby or weather to make sure that those automated posts are really kind of solid and, I suppose, engage with the community.
And last question then, because we don't have too much time. How many platforms does this cover? Does this cover everything from Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, all the way through?
So we cover three main platforms, the most important ones that we see in convenience at the moment. So Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So we cover all of those three, as well as plugging into Google My Business and TripAdvisor as well. Great,
brilliant. Okay, well, I'll say talk to Stephen afterwards if you want to know more about SocioLocal, and thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. Right, we're going to get straight onto the next shortlisted entry now. This is Edge Media.
Good morning, everyone, and it is a pleasure to be here talking to you today and at the ACS Technology Showcase. My name is Paul Murphy, and I'm here today to talk to you about our new Shelfies form. So what are Shelfies? Well, Shelfies are digital screens that attach directly onto the retail shelf. We then run advertising and promotions on these screens for brands and retailers. After several years of proof of concept and multiple testing, we launched in 2018, and we've been expanding ever since, year on year, and we're now expanding out into the UK. So to take you through the attachment and how it works in a bit more detail, the Shelfies themselves are 1 to 1.2 meters in length, depending on the size of your store. We then attach the screens from underneath using a specific mechanism that we've developed ourselves. We then have a riser that sits in just behind the screen that's see-through, so you can still see the branding on the bev track. And it also allows you to display pricing in case there was any pricing blocked by the Shelfie itself. And then the final thing to note there is just that the actual riser itself doesn't, it still sits below the bev track, so it doesn't actually block any product being taken from the shelf. We are initially targeting 3 categories: alcohol, confectionery, and minerals. Once the screens are installed, we run a 30-second loop on the screens, which can be the full 30 seconds of one brand, or it can be split into 3 times 10-second slots. We then sell this space of the screens to brands to promote their products, such as Heineken, Carling, Red Bull, or Cadbury's. And since we've launched, we've delivered sales uplift consistently across all categories. So to take you through the operational side of things, to power the screens, we take a feed from the mains. Now, the screens themselves are only 12 volts, so there's no real electrical drain there, as pretty much the same as a household lamp. Where we are installing screens on chillers or coolers, say on soft drinks or alcohol, we use existing cabling systems that are already there, so there's no need for additional works with regards to cable management. Each screen has its own independent, hidden and secure Wi-Fi, and then we power up to 6 screens per store via one media player. On this media player is about the size of a deck of cards, and we can place that anywhere within the store. And finally, Edge Media look after all of this installation and any maintenance required. So on the content side of things, we run that 30-second loop, which is 3 by 10 seconds. All of the content is controlled and uploaded remotely and in real time. We offer a 10-second spot to retailers to run their own in-store promotions. And that content can be targeting any sort of time, date, or event that you have in mind, be it lunchtime, be it a bank holiday weekend, or maybe a call to action around a match. 2 points of note on the content is that we don't run price promotions unless specifically asked to do so. And we never advertise anything that will drive footfall out of the store. So, for example, we would never take an ad for McDonald's that might be, 500 meters down the road. And just a point of note on the screen size, it's obviously landscape, and it's that shape to allow for space for the product and for the shoppability of the product. But it's also quite a subtle screen in some regards, in that it's smaller. But we feel that in the years to come, there's going to be a certain amount of screen fatigue. And actually, uniquely sized screens will actually be more beneficial in the long run. And also because it's a smaller screen, it's viewed as a more one-to-one engagement, which is then considered a more trusted engagement. And so therefore, more likely that a shopper will react to it. So why does it work? And what's happening in store with the shopper? And why are we building a new media format around the shelf? Well, to break it down into its 3 most basic numbers, it comes down to these. 83% of shopping decisions are made in store. We don't make our final decision until the last 3 seconds. And modern society has an 8-second attention span. And all this leads to a shopper that is wide open to influence at the shelf. So someone goes into a store looking to buy some water. They don't really know if they're going to get still or sparkling or Evian or own brand. And it's within this space that shelfies are proving to be highly effective. And within this space, the sort of content we're seeing are brand calls to action, targeting sports or events. We're also seeing a great success with cross-promotional ads, where you might see crisps advertised the alcohol section, or indeed ice cream at the minerals, which is then leading to that extra item in the basket. So why are we building a business around the shelf and a new media format around the shelf? Well, for us at Edge, we're just unbelievably excited about convenience space in the coming years. All of the figures and research that we are seeing is pointing towards convenience being at the forefront of innovation in the coming years. And if you look across, say, different ad mediums now, the shelf is really the only position left where you can achieve an undiluted, effective one-to-one engagement. TV, radio, online, mobile, they're all fractured, leaving the shelf as the last bastion of influence for brands. COVID outstanding, the trend in footfall for multiples is in decline as more people migrate online. And this trend will continue to increase and at a faster pace once the multiples sort out their delivery systems. But on the flip side of that, we're seeing a footfall increase in convenience in the UK, in the EU, globally. as shopping habits and services change. So, our local shop is offering more, a wider range of products, and it's a more considered shop. So we see the shop floor as a live, dynamic marketplace that's currently underserviced. And just a further note on that local shop and the difference between the local shop and the top-up shop and grocery shopping is that local shop is now the best opportunity for brands to tell their brand story. So when shopping online for groceries, there isn't really as much emotion involved. Most people will just go with whatever is the best deal or whatever they got last week. However, in convenience, it's a far more immediate, a far more emotive and satisfaction-based decision. And it's this decision and this exact moment that the brands are so excited to see shelfies within that space and to use shelfies within that space. I could sit here all day and talk about shelfies if you let me, but, to quickly summarize everything we've gone through, sometimes I suppose, the best solution is the most obvious one. So we put a digital screen onto the shelf and we're running ads on it, and that's it in a nutshell. It's important for us at Edge Media for the retailers to understand that we're on the side of the retailer. We want retailers to want the screens in store. And that's why we're willing to offer and take on all of the costs of installation and maintenance. That's why we offer our retail partners access to the screens to promote their own products and offers. I mean, the shelfies themselves are proven to increase sales. And on top of all of that, we then offer a cost-free annual return to all of our retail partners. So, the way we look at it is we're delivering something that everybody gets a benefit from. The retailers get an increase in sales and a cost-free new revenue stream. Brands get the ability to engage with customers at the point of decision. And ultimately, the shopper gets a better shopping experience. So hopefully that quick presentation was enough to give you guys a sense of what the shelfies can do for you and for your stores. I hope it also gives you a sense of the enthusiasm and the really strong belief that Edge Media have about the future of convenience. We could be more excited and more positive about our rollout within the UK. So I thank you very much for the opportunity, and I look forward to and the really strong belief that Edge Media have about the future of convenience. We could be more excited and more positive about our rollout within the UK. So I thank you very much for the opportunity, and I look forward to answering any questions you might have. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. And Paul, welcome. Thanks for joining us. The shelfies themselves, they look brilliant. So I've got some few rapid fire questions for you. First of all,
fire away.
Do these work with electronic shelf edge labels? Is there enough space for both on the shelves?
Absolutely, yeah. We have several that are already in place that are utilizing the tags. So there's no problem there whatsoever. Great.
And when you said call to actions, some of the examples you showed me were sort of quite general brand awareness things. Are suppliers doing enough to get the right messaging on these things?
I mean, there's sort of a bit of I suppose, a learning stage at the moment where people are certainly brands are kind of going, what content can we put on here? And as they use them more, they're getting much more adventurous with their CTAs. It all started out initially with kind of very brand generic stuff, because we don't do that price promotion in store, because one retailer might have a different price to another one. So we don't get involved in that. But we're starting to see things that are targeting bank holidays, and for example, with the Euros coming up this summer and the Olympics and so on, you'll see call to actions based around those.
And the final question for me: what scope is there for retailers to put their own content on these things, whether it be promoting social or promoting the store? How easy is that a process?
We do it all for you. So basically, we if you have let's say you want to run a lunch deal, and we offer our retail partners space on the screens, be it in alcohol or minerals or confectionery, and the content gets sent into us, and we actually program it live, and it goes up straight away. So we normally work kind of a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance with the retailer, so everybody knows what's coming up with the coming promos, and we can pre-program it as well. So we can say, look, in August 10th, I want to run X deal for 2 hours a day for the next 3 months. So it's we can really drill down into a granular level, but we do all the work and basically make it as easy as possible for the retailer.
Brilliant. Okay, I think that's a great note to finish on. Thanks, Paul. Really appreciate it. Right,
great. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks again. We are 2 out of 6 in, and then we've got our panel. So lots to get through. We're going to go to a break now, but first we're going to hear a message from our Chief Executive, James Lohman, about Summit 21.
Hello, I'm James Lohman from ACS, and I'm really excited to say that we're now all sorted for Summit 21, 13th of April. It's an online event. We'd all prefer to be face-to-face, wouldn't we? But we know from last year that Summit can work really well online. And we've got some great content this year, 3 themes, all based on our response to COVID-19 and what the world after COVID-19 might look like. First theme is about recovery, us as individuals, but also as a sector. How do we recover from the challenges that we've faced? Second is about how do we retain our customers and retain the trade that some of us have seen during this period of time. And the third section is about reimagine. How does this cause us to think differently about the convenience store sector and our businesses? How does it cause us to reimagine our place in society and our place with our customers and communities? Got some fantastic speakers: Anthony Bennett, Harj Dassi, Louise Host, Sophie Towers, Michael O'Loughlin from Simply Fresh, Natalie Brown from Community Shop, and a couple more to come in as well. So we're really excited about it. Look forward to seeing you all there, virtually at least, and to a really great summit.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you managed to get a coffee, had a chat with your fridge, and taught your Alexa device something new. I apologise if I've just set anyone's off there. We're flying through now. We've got 2 down, 4 to go. Again, I'm going to be very tight on time here. We've got 4 presentations to get through and then questions. So please, again, do get your questions through. And as James mentioned in the break, do check out Summit as well. We've got a fantastic agenda there. So go onto the website and have a look at Summit and book your place for that now. The next shortlisted entry is especially relevant given the last year and all the debate around cash and safety of cash. And that is CPI with their PayPod solution.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the PayPod demonstration here today during the ACS Technology Showcase. My name is Florian Zimmerman. I'm the Global Business Development Director for the PayPod product line, and I wanted to give you a quick run through of our presentation today. So let's start with a quick clarification what PayPod actually is. PayPod is a pay station installed at the point of sale. It delivers ultimate ease in payment automation. It accepts and validates coins and notes, and it's basically an automated cashier assistant to handle the cash payments at the point of sale. PayPod comes generally in 2 different models, as you can see here on this slide. On the left side, we have the PayPod hybrid model, and on the right side, the PayPod embedded. The main difference is the general hardware configuration of both devices, but they also accommodate different installation environments in your individual stores. To give you a better impression of how PayPod actually looks like and what it does, I've asked my colleague Steve to give you a quick run through with the upcoming video.
Hello, and welcome to your demonstration of PayPod Pay Stations by CPI, your new cashier assistant, making handling cash at the point of sale easier, faster, more accurate, and more hygienic. PayPod solutions accept cash payments at the point of sale from customers and automatically dispense change, all without the cashier even touching the money. Let me introduce you to your new cashier assistant, and let's take a closer look at how PayPod Pay Stations work for you and your customer. This is PayPod Embedded. Customers approach your counter and you ring them up as you always have. The total is presented to the customer. When the customer decides to use cash as their form of payment, the cashier selects the cash option in the point of sale, or POS, system. Then PayPod Pay Station steps in. This activates the PayPod unit, which replaces your manual till and acts like a smart cash register drawer. Instead of the customer handing the cash to the cashier, the customer inserts the money into PayPod. During this time, the cashier can be preparing the purchase or engaging the customer, further building a relationship and making the customer experience better. PayPod automatically dispenses change to the customer, and the transaction is complete. The count is accurate, the money is secure, and the transaction was fast and easy. When you are ready to balance, you spend just a few minutes to reset your PayPod by removing the cash you want to deposit and replenishing any denominations you may need for change. Let's take a closer look at the system itself. PayPod Embedded is installed through the counter, giving an attractive and more integrated look. It also avoids using valuable counter space. On top, you will find the coin input opening. In the front, the coin exit cup and the note insertion and payout slots. Only 3 small holes in your cabinet are required to install PayPod. Service and maintenance happens from the employee's side. To open the embedded model, we'll go around to the back of the unit. As we open the door, we'll highlight 2 features that add safety and security. First, the automatic damper system lets the door open smoothly into the correct position. This avoids the door simply dropping onto the floor or onto someone's feet. It also ensures the correct position of the door so the inside cart can be moved out easily. Second, the secure locking system of the PayPod embedded door. It provides 4 locking points on each side to securely close and lock the system while in operation. Now we'll roll back the system and rotate it in place. This gives access to the internal components. Inside, you'll have some of our most widely used coin and banknote recyclers in the market. A recycler means that when a customer pays with notes and coins, it's temporarily stored in the unit. Then, the same notes and coins are used to give change out to the next customer. This reuse of money means you are loading and unloading cash less often and tending to the machine less frequently, saving valuable time and letting you concentrate on other tasks. This model consists of 2 recycling cassettes, a loading cassette, and the cash deposit cassette, all of which have lock control. The unique benefit of the loading cassette is that it stocks PayPod with its beginning float amount and replenishes the recycling cassettes during the day to keep the unit up and running. For coin, a customer drops coin in the top here. Via our world-class recognition sensor, it is being validated and sorted by size into the dedicated coin hoppers. The coin is stored in these hoppers, and change is dispensed through the coin exit cup to the customer. Foreign objects or unrecognized coins will be rejected and returned to the customer. Banknotes are inserted here. The sensors in the main module will validate the notes and then move them to the recycling units or cash box. From the recycling units, change is given to the patron here. This is also the same location where rejected notes will be given back to the customer. Both the coin and banknote acceptors look for counterfeits and accept only genuine money, so you are protected from the very front of the money exchange. With PayPod embedded, various models offer you some options, such as higher recycling capacity or note loading capability. Please talk to your representative, who will consult you on the best configuration for your environment. PayPod also allows you to use different configurations across different sites, depending on your individual business case, but following a singular operational concept. When you close out, you know your counts are accurate and there are no discrepancies between your cash and your POS totals, further saving you time by eliminating the burdensome task of investigating where discrepancies occurred. Integrating the PayPod solution into your POS system is easy using our POSLink software application, meaning you can be up and running quickly. Talk to your representative to learn more about integration options for PayPod. PayPod PayStation is your new cashier assistant and is ready to help your business save time, save costs, speed up transactions, and make the customer and employee experiences better and cleaner. Let's put a PayPod PayStation on your staff today. Visit mypaypod.com.
All right, now as we have understood how PayPod actually works, I wanted to re-emphasize the value propositions here. So PayPod is most probably the cleanest way to handle cash. There's no need for your cashiers anymore to touch the cash physically, since this is all done by the customer directly. It's also the most secure way to handle cash. It reduces any cash losses. It prevents the acceptance of counterfeits, and it almost eliminates any human error when dealing with cash. And on top of that, it's the fastest way to handle your cash in the stores. There's no need of the cash count at shift swaps or the end of the day anymore. And in general, you will spend significantly less time handling your cash on a daily basis. So how much can you actually save with it? Obviously, this depends a little bit on your individual organization and environmental setup. But what we've seen so far is that there's an average savings with PayPod of roughly £9,500 per year. So I highly welcome you to run through an individual savings and ROI calculation with one of our sales managers to do the calculation for you individually. But normally, in order to save any money, it means you need to invest a little bit up front. And this brings us to how much PayPod actually costs. It all starts with as little as £7 per day, which already includes a maintenance coverage for the next 5 years. It also includes a way of communication with your POS software, either via our middleware or our universal API for proper software integration. And if the standard maintenance coverage isn't the right solution for you, we are also available to discuss any measured business service level agreements to your needs. So if this has all caught your attention, I'm looking forward to touch base with you individually. Reach out to Charlotte Parcel, Andy Krausen, Paul Clay, or even myself. And I'm looking forward to speak to you very soon. Thank you very much.
Right then, now we've got Florian, Charlotte and Andy from PayPod. Welcome the three of you. We've got some questions for you, so let's get straight to it. The first question I had was, especially with the embedded unit, that space at the front of a store is sort of prime selling real estate. How much of that does that take up, and have you had retailers have to take things out to make space for this?
Florian, you've had more experience.
Sure, yeah. From a physical space need, you can compare it almost to a dishwasher in your kitchen. So it's like 60 centimeters by like 60, or I don't have the measures exactly out of my head, but it's like a dishwasher size. So if you store anything underneath of the counter, like bags, for example, they should be removed, obviously.
Sure. And we're in a time period now where notes are changing, moving to polymer notes. We've got £20 note coming in and out of circulation, and then 50 pounds later. What do retailers need to do when there's a change? Do they need someone to come out? Is it just a software update? What's the process there?
Well, Andy, if you don't mind, I take this one as well. It's basically a remote update. If there's an internet connection available, we can use and download the new build sets to the different note recyclers. If this is not available for whatever reason, then obviously a service technician from our service team needs to come out and do the update on site.
Sure. And obviously, one of the things that retailers are most worried about is fraud. The £20 note counterfeit is probably the most used one in our sector. How good is this machine? How many of these things slip through the net?
So we've passed certification with the Bank of England, and we guarantee that we only accept real notes. So everything which we can't validate as 100% real note, we would reject. That even applies to a note you have maybe kept in your pocket for a few times, and you washed your jeans 5 times, and the color or anything has vanished slightly. We would rather reject it instead of accepting a fraud.
Great. Okay. Well, I think that's all we've got time for. Andy and Charlotte, easy life. No answers needed. Thanks to the three of you. Please, as I get in touch with all three of them in the chat if you want to ask any more questions as we go on. We're now going to move on to our next presentation from one of our shortlist, and that is from Gander.
Hi everyone. Thanks for giving us some time to talk to you about Gander today. I'm going to run through a few slides for you. My name is Steve Hewitt, and I'm one of the team here at Gander. So looking forward to talking you through the way in which Gander works. So Gander really exists to help you as retailers to sell as much produced food as possible before it goes to wastage. Now, we do this by showing multiple people, thousands of people, in fact, that what product is available in your store at any time. And we do this in real time. So we integrate with your POS provider, and we can show the customer, should I say, the reductions that are available in store, how much the price was before and how much it is now, alongside the percentage reduction and an image of the product. And our objective really is to prevent as much food as possible from going to wastage. Obviously, there's significant financial benefit of you selling that food rather than it being at waste as well. So it's a real-time view of what's available in your store in terms of yellow label markdown products. We're currently working with lots of different brands across the world, in fact. Spar, Nisa, as you can see here, Morrison's, Iceland's, Checkers Express, and we actually work very closely with Spar internationally as well. So we're already quite well established in a number of territories. You probably know this already, but food waste is a huge problem across the world, and it's unsustainable really as a planet. So a third of all food that's produced actually ends up going to waste. If food waste were a country, it'd be in the number 3 global greenhouse gas emitter, which is an astonishing statistic. And obviously waste has a huge economic loss as well. From a macro point of view, it's $1 trillion worth of food that goes to waste every year. But of course, for you as individual stores, that problem is a problem that's impacting on your bottom line. So getting that product sold is a really key thing to do. And I think it's fair to say as well that customers really expect retailers to play their part in reducing food waste, as they expect retailers to play their part in reducing plastic waste as well. So we know that the current process in store is not particularly effective. So where you would produce an item, either you write the label or you print the label, you hope that somebody will come into the store and purchase that item. On average, around 45% of the reduced food is sold, so leaving 55% to be bin or to be distributed some other way. But that's really avoidable. You know, we can help you with that by showing many more people what's available. And we're basically increasing demand for that yellow stickered product. So what's the difference between what you do now and what you would do with Gander? Well, it's actually a very, very small difference. So at the moment, I'm assuming here that, and of course not everybody will do this, that you apply a yellow sticker to the product or some color sticker to the product using a handheld terminal. At the moment, only 5% of your footfall will see that product. But in our new world, thousands more people will see that product in real time on the app, and they will come into your store to purchase it. Very simple model. And what we found in terms of the results of that is that only around 10% of that product then becomes wastage, whereas around 55% becomes wastage at the moment because very few people see it. So of course, the impact of that financially is phenomenal and massive for your bottom line. But also the impact of that environmentally is very, very key as well to call out. And I think, you know, there's a good quote here from Darren at Spar in Northern Ireland, talking about marketing a part of your store that's never been marketed before. And I think that's very, very true to say. I don't think huge marketing goes into this area, and it justifiably needs to be given a bit more focus. So quick summary on how the app works. So the staff member reduces the product, no change in process. That product goes straight through to the app, and we use our API to feed that data to us. And it's done in real time, as I mentioned. The user then is browsing the app all the time, and will see that there's reduced products in your store and will visit your store and purchase that item. We can, but we don't at the moment, allow users to purchase it on the app. We want to drive them into your store because 77% of the people that come into your store to buy a reduced item will also buy a full price item at the same time. Obviously, that then generates significant profit opportunity. And off the back of that, we use the granular data that we've got to run some very interesting analytics on your store and understand where you can continue to improve in terms of your reductions. So as I mentioned, we moved from 45% sell-through rate, which is a measure that we use, to 90%. So a significant improvement. And that can decrease your margin losses by about 18% on your produced products, which is obviously highly significant for you. Just in terms of a summary, really, we can reduce the labour involved in doing reductions or markdowns, because obviously you're reducing it less often because you're selling it faster. So on average, we sell about 40% faster than currently. We also improve compliance with the dashboards, and we can also liaise with your charities of choice to donate the food, any food that's left over, to those charities, which is obviously a really good thing for the charity because they get a view of exactly what's available in store. So very briefly, we just put in a use case here, a business case. So in just 3 months, 5% of the population of the Channel Islands downloaded the app, making it the most downloaded food waste app in the Channel Islands. So we actually achieved significant financial benefits for the retailer in question, which obviously will remain anonymous, but the return on investment was around 700%. So it's a very small cost, but a very massive gain that you would achieve by coming on board with us. So a quick look at the app in a bit more detail. It's obviously 100% real-time view, displays all the official product imagery and dietary information, and you can search the app by your location. You can see how to get to the store, lots of different things, lots of different information about your store, the opening hours, when it's busy, that kind of thing. So we're fully integrated with the POS providers that are shown on the list here. So we can turn your store on very, very quickly if you happen to be part of one of these POS providers. But if you're not, there are lots of options around what we can do as well. So we would need to talk to you on an individual basis just to understand your requirements, but needless to say, we can integrate with any POS provider. I've already mentioned we're award winning. We actually won the MRW National Recycling Awards just last week, which we were very pleased about. But we've appeared on multiple different publications in terms of the benefit that we're adding to the bottom line of retailers. But more importantly, or just as importantly, we're also talking to these industries about the environmental impact. And of course, from a CSR perspective, the environmental impact is just as important. In terms of branding, what we try to do is make buying yellow stickered products or reduced products a mainstream purchase. We're trying to make it clear to the consumer that the product that they're purchasing is perfectly good food, and they should not be put off by the fact that it's got a yellow label on it. So things like, don't you forget about me, it's still a fine apple. We're just trying to use a bit of a play on words to get the message across to customers. And that's landed really well with our consumers so far. So I've run out of time, but that's it from me. I'm sure you will have some questions, so please do get in touch with us. Here's our contact details on the slide in front of you. In the meantime, I'm sure we will have some time for questions during the course of the session. Thanks very much.
Right, great, very, very timely presentation there, given what we've experienced over the last year. Joined now by Steve and Wayne to talk about the Gander app. I think probably the biggest question straight away is, one, does this cause fights in store? Are people trying to rush in, walk over each other to get the products? And how many customers come in and are disappointed if something's been taken off the shelf just before they arrive?
Sure. So no fights so far, fortunately. In fact, if anything, it actually avoids fights because we spread the purchasing of product out across the course of the day. So and we push that more into the morning, which is when the reductions are normally at a higher price. So that gives a net benefit to the retailer. And secondly, your second question was around complaints. Well, we haven't had many complaints at all, probably about 3 since we launched 18 months ago. And most of those were where a member of staff has taken something off the shelf and reserved it for themselves and not purchased it. So it's very rare that we would get complaints about missing items that were on the app but not in store.
Sure. And so with your experience of the app so far, who's using this? Who is the demographic for this? Is it young people? Is it across the board? What's the target audience for this app?
Wayne, do you want to take this one?
Well, I think the reality is it's anybody that's in the store. We've seen complete age ranges across all different demographics. So it's no one person. I mean, obviously to begin with, it's people that were already used to the yellow ticketing that came in specifically for that. But as the momentum's grown, it's been across the board. So it's been quite widespread. Nobody specific.
Sure. And I guess best practice for retailers, should they be reducing things and keeping them on the aisle in the same place, or should they go sort of take an approach and have everything in the same place for people to pick up?
So it's very much up to the retailer, but we can work with either. But the reality is that customers tend to try and find the product in its location. But obviously some retailers like to put all of that product together, which is fine too. The joy of the app is that you can see what's in the store without going searching, and then you can find it when you get into the store wherever the retailer's decided to locate it. So it can work either way, Chris.
Great. And this is absolutely fine for just, if you're a single site retailer, right up to sort of big businesses as well. It's just scalable.
Yeah, we've just launched in the last 2 weeks some DB stores up in Grimsby, and there's one going in Howden next week. And as you know, we're all across the Channel Islands, all across Northern Ireland, so it makes no difference whether you're a single site or a multiple site.
Great. Okay, brilliant. Steve, Wayne, that's all we've got time for. Thanks very much. Appreciate the answers to the questions. Right, we're going to go straight on to the next presentation now, and that is from G4S.
Good morning, ACS. My name is Lee Atkinson, and I'm the Commercial Operations Manager here at G4S Cash Solutions. I'm very excited to be here today to present our new solution to you. But before I do, I'll set the scene with a whistle-stop tour of G4S. For those who are not familiar with us, we're the largest cash in transit company in the UK with a 55% market share. We service 6,000 customers, covering the full spectrum of businesses, from the largest multinationals to small independent retailers. And we're responsible for collecting nearly £1 billion every single week. In terms of the G4S Group, we were founded 120 years ago, coming from Danish heritage as a guarding company. And for any Game of Thrones fans out there, I can share that in 1935 we established the first official Night's Watch, not Jon Snow with a nice wall. Fast forward many years, and 2004 sees the newly merged Group 4 Securicor start to trade on the London and Copenhagen stock exchanges. 2 years later, the G4S brand as we know it now is established and enters the FTSE 100. Last year, the G4S Group sold the majority of its 55 international cash businesses, holding on to just a few entities, including the UK, with a commitment to invest in the futures to continue the drive to a digital, technology-led security business, which segues very nicely to take you through our new solution, G4S Pay. So what is G4S Pay? Until now, as our name suggests, we've been focused on handling and securing our customers' cash. This covers making regular change deliveries for merchants to make up floats, collecting takings from on-site safes, and delivering customers' money safely to the bank, as well as having the ability to process these funds ourselves. We also offer our Cash 360 solution, which gives customers the ability to deposit their takings into a smart safe and, depending on the banking partner, see those funds in their account the very same day. With this technology, we're also able to offer intelligent scheduling, where the safe can notify us to let us know that it's full and that it requires a collection. What G4S Pay brings to the table is the ability for us to build a payment solution from a holistic perspective. By being able to arrange merchant services as well as cash services, we can now handle all payment types, from the customer's wallet through to depositing the funds into the merchant's bank account. We offer a selection of PIN terminals and pads, as well as a fully integrated EPOS solutions to assist businesses with their day-to-day running, as well as taking payments. We also offer online services with the ability to build standalone shopping carts, as well as integrate into existing websites. And finally, our virtual terminals allow merchants to take payments over the phone, send payment requests for instant settlement, as well as to arrange recurring payments for their customers. And crucially, this is all offered at the same rate as if the customer was on site making a payment. Recently, with many businesses having to adjust their operating models to allow for click and collect and delivery services, many retailers have been surprised when they check their statements to see the additional cost of taking phone payments through a traditional terminal. We can now work with our customers to look at their end-to-end payment process, consulting and collaborating to find better, more streamlined and cost-effective ways of doing business. So as part of this project, we referenced the 2018 Card Acquiring Market Review, which ACS members responded to. And according to this, at the date of publishing, the report shows that 90% of convenience stores have not seen a reduction in their card processing rates since the previous 2 years. And in fact, the majority have actually seen increases to the amounts they're paying for merchant services. Concerns with numerous regulatory compliances seem to stop merchants from changing their services, wanting to mitigate risk by sticking with what they know is working for them. And finally, and I can certainly attest to this personally, bills for merchant services are extremely hard to understand and interpret. The paperwork required to answer the not so simple question of what rates are you paying understandably lead merchants to turn their attention to one of the other jobs on their to-do list. So why G4S Pay? By dealing with one account managed provider, you can rest easy knowing that our experts will work with you to ensure your payment strategy is optimized to suit your current business needs as well as your customers' demands. Our customers have one number to call for their account manager or for customer services, whether it's cash or card. As previously mentioned, we're trusted with £1 billion per week of our customers' money, so you can rest easy that we are only offering secure technologies as opposed to having to put your trust in an unknown business who may cold call you. With a fully digital sign-up process, you won't find a slow traditional paper-based application with G4S Pay. Our fully online process can see customers online in a matter of days, with a vast percentage being automatically approved. The award-winning merchant services portal gives merchants the access to a plethora of reports and analytics, whether it's one site or with multiple physical and online stores. Cash flow is important. Our speedy settlements mean you can access your funds the next working day, so there's no need to wait for days to access your money. And finally, with a UK-based, around-the-clock customer services support line, you can trade with the peace of mind that if you do run into issues, there's always someone on hand to help. Now, to wrap this up, and to probably say it better than I have already, I'm going to share a quick video with you. And after the video, I really look forward to answering some of your questions.
At G4S, we know that running a business can be hard work. There are always demands to juggle, deliveries to be made, meals to be prepared, shelves to be stacked, websites to be managed, bills to be paid, and to-do lists to be worked through. That's why we're simplifying the way businesses manage their payments. Introducing G4S Pay. For the first time in the UK, businesses can build a payment solution from the ground up that covers cash, card, and online transactions, all through one trusted partner. Having everything in one place means you can save time and money. With G4S Pay, your business can engage with everyone, regardless of how people choose to pay. That means customers are happy, all payment types are welcome, and you won't miss out on any revenue. Next day crediting means you'll be able to see your takings, whether cash, card, or online, safely in your bank account the next working day. With G4S's state-of-the-art Cash 360 technology, cash takings can be credited into your bank account while the notes are still on site. Safe, secure, and indemnified in one of our intelligent safes. Our intelligent safe will notify us automatically when it's nearly full, so there is no need to book a cash collection. We'll already be on our way. We can set up these market-leading cash and card services within just a few days. You will receive a tailored service, one person who will manage your contract, and you'll have one number to call for support, 24/7, 365. G4S Pay makes payments easier for businesses. And isn't it about time life got a little bit easier? Visit www.g4spay.com for more information.
Right then, welcome to Lee from G4S. A really interesting solution there. Obviously, the last year, retailers have been putting in lots of different bits and pieces, filling gaps within their sort of payment gateways and all that kind of thing. Is this something that is just an all or nothing proposition, or is this something that can be used to sort of fill gaps within the retailer's offer?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's certainly not all or nothing. You know, it's the really sort of strong piece around this is we can fill those gaps. So, you know, where sort of merchants are, you know, obviously a very changeable time, having different priorities and sort of feeling they need to focus on different areas. We can sort of flex the proposition and the solution to sort of to suit, you know, where people maybe want to move away from one area or focus on another. We can build them something now across all platforms and all payment methods to suit.
Sure. And it was mentioned in the presentation there about merchant service charges. We do a lot of work on this at ACS. It is a sort of bit of a nightmare for retailers. How does this solve that issue? Is it sort of more competitive, more simple for retailers to just get the whole system in?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of focus around the charges is what we're finding, speaking to our customers about, you know, what the actual rates are, but because we're looking at it from sort of a broader scale of looking at the whole payment process, understanding how people are taking their payments. So as I mentioned in the presentation, people have been taking payments using sort of traditional terminals over the phone without realizing the implications of that. They're actually, you pay a much higher rate when you do that. So by working with them, sort of seeing what they're doing, yes, we want to look at the rates, but we want to look at things on a broader scale to understand, how best we can sort of build the most optimal solution for their business.
Great. And then last question for me, it seems like a lot of things are then being automated, ringing for collections, all that kind of thing. Do you have an idea for a one site, how much time in terms of the retailer that's going to save them on a weekly or monthly basis?
It sort of depends case to case. It's very sort of it's hard to say in terms of how much time it's going to save, but just having that one person to call, that one number to phone for your account manager, you can sort of service both your whole payment solution with that one provider will save time. I couldn't put my finger on how much, unfortunately.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to perhaps getting some stats on that later on. Thanks, Lee, really appreciate it. We're now moving to our final shortlisted entry, and that is Dahua.
Thank you for the opportunity today to share with you one of our solutions that deter shoplifters and save thousands of pounds using the latest cost-effective and facial recognition and active alert technology. This solution is suitable and scalable from small single site through to multi-site retailers. Not only will we share the immediate benefits of implementing such a solution with our partners, but also the opportunities it presents to offer so much more. Before we share the solution, let me give you a little bit of background on Dahua. We've grown dramatically since we started operations in 2001. We're a world-leading, video-centric smart IoT solution and service provider. Our systems are already widely applied in many vertical markets today, making a real difference to those that implement them. And we're delighted to say we have an extremely strong and growing presence in the UK and Ireland, with an amazing team delivering many solutions in our local market alongside partners. We have 16,000 employees globally, with over 50% fully engaged in research and development. Our technology solutions, products and services are applied in more than 180 countries and regions. Dahua Technology have been ranked second in the ANS Top 50 Global Security for 5 years in a row. We're also the first enterprise in the global security industry to secure ISO IEC 27701 certification. This demonstrates continuous practices in data security and privacy protection. Let's take a closer look at the problem we want to work with you to solve. Shoplifting in the United Kingdom is getting worse and worse and has now become part of everyday living in this country. Retailers are losing billions of pounds where opportunistic and creative thieves are taking advantage. This creates an unprecedented problem for retailers, with many not being able to afford the perceived high cost of security to manage the problem. CCTV is widely used today for surveillance and providing evidence, however requires manual intervention and does not allow for real-time action to be taken. Some cloud-based technologies have been created to solve some of the challenges, but costs can be highly prohibitive, and local effectiveness is limited, especially for smaller stores. The Centre for Retail Research reported almost £2 billion was lost to shoplifting in 2019, equating to 36.4% shrinkage. Recorded instances were almost 375,000 in the same year, but the same source puts it at 15 to 21 times this number, as retailers have to manage their use of police to deal with shoplifters. At its predicted worst, this would mean over 7 million incidents in the year. According to the ACS 2020 report, there were over 200 thefts per hour, and the average cost of theft per shop is £2,237 per year. The impact of theft on a small business can be dramatic, forcing price rises and risking the loss of customers to larger competitors better equipped to absorb losses or able to afford security personnel on site. Though the financial cost of this theft is nothing short of outstanding, there's also a very big issue of spike in reported violence against many retail staff members. The ACS recorded 13,437 incidents of violence directed at staff in just 1 year, where 39% resulted in injury and 27% of the cases involved a weapon. The Dahua team has created something incredible using the very latest technology to solve these problems. There are three elements: a public view monitor, which customers see when they walk into the store. This shows them on camera and can also be used to display signage too. A small, unobtrusive but high-spec camera is front of the store as well. In the office or other suitable location in the store, there's a network video recorder with inbuilt artificial intelligence connected to a monitor. Simply put, when a person of interest enters your store, an alert is immediately delivered to the monitor in an office or to a manager's mobile device, allowing immediate vigilance and ensuring full records of all actions. Dahua has mastered facial recognition software with an accuracy rate of up to 98% through artificial intelligence and machine learning. Our sophisticated AI software searches through the CCTV streams using stored face pictures by matching their attributes at a speed of 320 pictures per second. This has enabled us to incorporate many new features, such as early warning blacklist alarm for retail of previously convicted shoplifters and violent individuals entering your store. We utilise facial tracking to alert retail staff through our desktop DSS system and mobile DMSS systems. This notifies managers and staff someone of interest has entered the store and extra vigilance can be taken. Our AI software can also detect criminals with a mask on to help our retailers during this pandemic, or if the consumer has a beard or moustache. Our system can store up to 100,000 faces. Through our system, you can also store and analyse the recorded big data at any time through AI search. This is a distinctly valuable, easy to use, powerful way to tackle theft. It protects consumers and your retail employees and has helped to deter criminals. This has proved to be a profitable investment for retail business owners globally, saving hundreds of thousands of pounds. We believe this is a strong proposition just for security. However, the investment also has the capability to enable much more. You can study and analyse your consumers' shopping patterns and demographics of your shoppers, or simply look at the flow in and out of stores. You can also review expressions to help measure customer experience and improve your experience in store. Dahua Technology does not sell directly to business, but works with many installers and integrators across the UK, Ireland and globally to implement solutions. One example is Leo3, who've delivered many solutions today to retail. The cost of the equipment is not high at £999 excluding VAT, which includes a public view monitor, front of store alongside the high performance camera and monitor, and network video recorder with inbuilt artificial intelligence. We believe the level of sophistication is second to none and now accessible to many more stores in the UK and Ireland. It affords tremendous protection, and we sincerely hope you'll consider our solution to progress in your members' stores. Thank you from the Dahua UK and Ireland team. We're driving innovation to an AI/OT future, enabling a safer society and smarter living.
Okay, then we've got the team from Dahua here. Obviously, this is a huge area of concern for retailers over the last year. So, great to see some technology in this area looking to deal with this issue. Obviously, I mean, you talked about data security there. GDPR is a ongoing nightmare for retailers. Is there anything they need to do, or is it all just sort of set with the system and nothing they need to worry about?
That would be set with the system, and it would follow the same GDPR policy as your CCTV system would follow currently. So it's about keeping the data secure and the footage secure, which should be done on a day-to-day basis to help towards GDPR. So yes, it's secure.
Great.
And the system will follow the guidelines for GDPR also.
Great. And I saw there's temperature monitoring there for the blacklist alarms. Obviously, one of the biggest problems that retailers are having at the moment is around confrontation.
Yeah.
How does this system reduce confrontation in stores?
Okay, so the way to reduce, if it's a single store or multiple stores, so if it was a single store and you've got an act of violence, you would go back to that footage, because you want to keep the data, and if that suspect comes back in, it could be somebody that's local, that suspect in, you will get an alert to say that violent person has already been in and shouldn't be entering the store again. So it's putting them on a watch list, really. We call it blacklist. So if that person was to enter the store again, one, you've got the evidence to show the police, and also if there's another shift and shop owner or retailer that's working. When that person comes back in, you will get a proactive alert.
Sure. And so you mentioned the police there. What feedback have you had from the police on what this system does for retailers?
Well, for the police, they want to have evidence that high quality, that you can recognise the person, and that the footage can be used in court of law. We do various solutions. The police do like the fact that we watermark our images. So if it is played back, we've got things like timestamps, which can be used to review the footage, and the police want to ensure that it hasn't been tampered with. And we've got various options within the system to ensure that the data hasn't been tampered with, and the person of interest is the person of interest.
Great. Well, it's like I say, it's a really big area for retailers at the moment. I would encourage any retailers who have any additional questions to put those in the chat and speak to the team from Dahua. But until then, thank you very much for the presentation and for joining me now. Right, well, that is all 6 of the shortlisted entries. Once again, thanks to our Indie board for getting us down to 6. That's hopefully a really beneficial half an hour, or whatever it's been for those entries for retailers. We're now going to move to a panel session. So we're going to bring back Cate, we're going to bring back Emma, we're going to bring back Jason, and we're going to introduce Rav, who is an award-winning independent retailer and, as I said earlier, a tech entrepreneur in his own right. So please get your questions into the chat for the panel when they all join me there, and please don't be kind either, because I know Rav can take it, so it's not too bad. Right then, I think the other thing to mention as well, just before we get into the panel, is just to make sure that if you're going to the hosted one-to-ones, and I'll say this again at the end, if you're going to hosted one-to-ones, that starts at 11:25, and please contact Vicky or Sarah if you need any more details for that. But you should know what you're doing. You should have read the standing orders, and you should understand them. So we'll go from there. Right, here's our panel. So welcome back, Jason. Welcome back, Cate. Welcome back, Emma, and welcome for the first time to Rav. Fantastic to have all of you here. First question, which has come up a few times, and this one's to Emma. Let's talk about TikTok. What about TikTok? Facebook feels like it's a bit of a sort of dinosaur now, and obviously lots of customers use it, but I feel like everything now is TikToks and sea shanties. So, any tips for retailers getting involved there?
I think definitely do it if you can. I know we've had quite a few retailers actually in Northern Ireland. They've actually done their own TikTok. So when they were doing home deliveries and things, they did the trended TikToks, and it actually worked really well. They had younger people that worked in the stores, so they were the ones that could really champion it. So I think about your demographics. I think where you are, if you may be in the country, it might not necessarily work for you, but if you're in the city, if you know your community and you know that there's types of people that would have TikTok, I think there's lots of fun things you can do. So don't be afraid and repost them on Facebook and kind of spread the word. I think it's really fun thing to do.
Brilliant. And so quick question to Jason then. With these robots, fantastic rollout of these. Two questions. One, how many of them go missing? And 2, what's the maximum wait for someone to ride one of them?
Perfect. Yeah, so it's the question we always get asked, and it's quite an easy answer to the first one. So in the 2 and a bit years, none have actually gone missing. So they've all got kind of GPS sensors in them. There's about 8 cameras. Actually, if someone tries to move them or pick them up, they alarm really loudly. So to be honest, they've been put through their paces, and as I said, pleased to say nothing has gone missing. But we're still waiting for the day where one turns up somewhere it shouldn't do. But yeah, I guess on your other point, we're normally delivering about 10 items in each of them, and I guess if the order is bigger than the robot, what happens is a second one will follow in convoy straight behind it. So it's quite interesting to see. So if you're in Milton Keynes and see them right behind one another, that's why.
Great. Jason, you said that none of them have gone missing, but I have what? No, I haven't. So Cate, let's come to you now. Was lots of really interesting tech in your presentation. Some of it is big companies doing amazing stuff on the cutting edge. How long do you think it is before these things filter down to like an independent retailer level?
Good question. I think a lot of that depends on some of the tech companies watching, because of course it becomes a lot more applicable for small businesses when there are small, easily applicable plug and play solutions available. So sadly, I don't have all the answers, but I mean, we've seen a lot already in the showcase. I think that's what's so exciting, is that a few years ago, IoT tech seemed a world away for most independent retailers, but you've actually shown 6 things that people could apply in the next few months, I think. So yeah, so hopefully people will take inspiration from the things I showed, and yeah, they can make it more applicable quite quickly.
Yeah, that's certainly right, and I think one thing to mention is that all the presentations hopefully we'll have summaries of afterwards, so people I'm sure will want to keep an eye out on things. Let's get into what we've seen in the showcase then. Rav, was there anything that particularly stood out to you as particularly good, or maybe something we'd missed as, you know, this is just obvious that it doesn't work? What was your feedback on what you've seen today?
Well, a lot of it works. I think the issues that we have in the independent sector is cost, and it's that cost and making it achievable, you know, from a small scale to a large. So it's making everything fit, which is the hard part. I mean, it's a tricky week with this week. We've had Elon Musk going crazy with cryptocurrency. We've had Little Moons go crazy on TikTok, and so retailers, independent retailers, have done really well with jumping onto that and finding supply as difficult as it has been. And more recently, Weetabix have gone crazy with Heinz beans. And
yeah, I saw that. So why is everyone putting beans on everything? What's that all about?
I think it's the cracker theory, which is you put a crap joke on a cracker and it unifies everybody around the Christmas table by hating the joke. So if you do a social media post and everybody hates it, everybody jumps onto it rather than some liking it and some not liking it, whether if it was something good. So and this morning, the pictures are coming through where retailers are putting Heinz beans next to Weetabix on the shelves, just to jump onto that craze. And we know no one's going to buy it. Well, we know people are going to buy it, but we don't think people are going to actually put it on. But it's just being part of that environment.
Yeah.
And coming back to what Cate was talking about earlier today, a lot of the things that retailers are doing this week, this last year, is the smaller scale. So some of the things in terms of tech, it's things that we would do part of our little roadmap. We wouldn't really acknowledge that it is a tech thing to do. It might be as little as putting small screens on the ends of tills. It might be putting big screens in store where you're running presentations on promotions. And then equally, yes, it has been harder to get product throughout the year because of demand or whatever you, and retailers have pivoted to online. And what retailers have found, myself included, is that we're selling things that we wouldn't normally sell on in store but online. Case in point, last week and even this week with the snow, sledges are top priority on that shopping list. So it's a brilliant line to have in store if people can get there, but it's even better line to have online for people that can't get to store, and you've got it at the top of your list. So I talked to a guy that sets up Uber Eats yesterday, and he told me about a really nifty way of setting up a promotion so that it might be a promotion that nobody uses or looks at, but it allows you to be at the top of the Uber Eats rankings in your local area just because you have a promotion. And it might just be, I've got a sledge.
Sure, tricks of the trade there from Rav. I just want to touch on another area. I think we've all touched on it a little bit in that you talked about convenience being not necessarily about where the stores are, but how close people are to getting the products. Is there a gap? Is there a gap between lots of different retailers and not making the most of the convenience store estate. I mean, we see Amazon lockers and things like that, but Cate, is there an opportunity there? We've got 46,000 stores in every postcode.
Yeah.
Are other businesses missing a trick?
I think so, because when I think about most of my local convenience stores, I think they all have a chance to order, or offer an infinite array of items, and very few of them are. So surely that has to be an opportunity. And even, I can't get a delivery slot on Tesco now, but maybe I could get one to my local Tesco store. So, and of course that same idea can be rolled out to, hopefully most independent convenience stores. So yeah, I think that's an opportunity. I don't know, Jason, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I think the way we've always approached it is kind of that convenience being in the eye of the beholder. So for us, it's giving people as much choice as they want. And I know earlier on touched around the partnership with John Lewis in the store. So actually it's another route for someone choosing, or whether that's ordering your groceries on delivery, because you can have it in half an hour, or if you want to wait a couple of hours, we'll come and deliver it for you. So I think it's kind of leveraging that store estate to be closer to our customers. So we've got fewer journeys, fewer distances being travelled to either hit them with a speed kind of mission that they need something now, or be there when the big retailers can't be. So I think it's been a really interesting and fascinating probably 12 months and what it's meant for convenience.
Yeah. And so I'm really sorry, we are running through the time at a quick pace. I'm going to finish with one thing from each of you that I think will hopefully help retailers. So Emma, starting with you, I think one thing that I picked up on in your presentation was saying that you don't need to respond to everything. Is that just, don't worry because someone's wrong on the internet? Is that the advice?
I think for me, it's just more, if you're overwhelmed, you don't have to respond to everything. I think it's picking out those key things that need the response. So whether it's a question, making sure that you're helping your shoppers as much as possible. If it's something positive, don't ignore them, because I think that's a chance for more engagement. It's a chance to start a conversation with your community. So I definitely think it's just about prioritizing, picking and choosing, but knowing that, not every single thing needs to be responded to. And it's not the end of the world if a comment does get unresponded. So it's just finding that balance.
Sure. And Jason, for delivery, how long before independent retailers can pick up one of these robots and send them off into their communities?
I think we'd have to speak to Starship on that, but I know they've, as you could see from the growth from my update, they've gone from kind of nothing a few years ago to 1 million deliveries. So it's definitely becoming mainstream. I think in certain areas where they're operating, I'd encourage any independents to get in touch and be on that platform. And I think just beyond just the robots, just get out there and test, get out there and try something, be different. Obviously, Ravi is a great example of sledges on platforms as well. Like, don't be afraid to do something that's different, because in 6 months' time, everybody might be wanting to do that. So you say test, learn, and don't be afraid of testing new things.
Yeah, it's great advice. And speaking on the topic of fear, there'll be a lot of retailers, Cate, that will be seeing some of the, as we said, some of the really fancy stuff and thinking, right, how do I even start? What's the first step in this?
Starting small, I think. A lot of this is about choosing something small and easy to implement, that if you have a boss, will impress your boss and demonstrate that it has real returns. And then you build up from there. So yeah, I think we've seen, as I said, a number of great innovations for people to try. Hopefully there was some good inspiration in the presentations too. So there should be a few things that people can quickly apply, and even just experimenting with social media, asking your audience what they want to see stocked in your store. A lot of the time, any big complicated idea can also be boiled down into something very, very simple and almost free. So there's always a way through, but just as Emma said, just get started.
Brilliant. And Rav, last word from you. What would you recommend to any retailer that's a little bit hesitant about the impact of tech on their business?
Well, I think it's really interesting that I'm going to echo something that everybody else has said, but it's away from the pressing the accelerator of today. Though we're talking about tech, the thing is that having jumped on many bandwagons over the years in tech in the industry. Don't worry, by watching today and being part of today's experience, having been in the audience, you start panicking. You think, oh no, I've got to do something. I've got to be on some kind of tech. I've got to do something today. Yeah, do something small. Don't worry. And the key issue is that not all tech is suitable for you now, and you are not ready for the tech, and the tech is not ready for you. So it's all part of a roadmap. Maybe pick something to tackle every quarter and just progress generally. The fundamental fact is that consumers aren't all ready for the tech. And when they come to a store and they're visiting, they want that experience of the store, of the physical. And then our job is to enhance that physical experience. And then the new role is to create the non-physical experience to be more closely related to the physical. That's where the online comes in. That's where we can become the independent version of Amazon, Alibaba, and what have you. There's the big picture.
That's fantastic advice, Rav, and a brilliant note to finish on. So I'd like to just once again thank all of our panel and speakers for being involved, everyone who entered the Tech Showcase, everyone who was shortlisted, and especially thank everyone who came on for a Q&A and didn't have to answer a question. Lucky you. That's everything from us from the Tech Showcase for this year. We've got Innovation Showcase later in the year, lots of events coming up. Have a look on the website, acs.org.uk. Most pressingly, those hosted one-to-one starting in just a few minutes, 11:25 for that. And again, if you don't know what you're doing, speak to Sarah or Vicky and they will sort you out. But until then, thank you again for everyone and from us, and we'll speak to you soon.